Hi, I'm Kristen from Femme Cyclist. Today I've got the Buzz Centris e-bike for you here. I'm gonna walk you through it. This is a great e-bike in my opinion. If I was gonna pick a target demographic, this would be a great e-bike for retirees living in their RV or traveling part of the year in their RV. It's a folding bike. It folds up into a nice small little package. You could fit it in the trunk of your RV pretty easily. It also is good for that campground life because it's got these nice wide 4-inch tires. And these add some suspension, they add some traction. This works well on dirt roads as well as sand. So it could also be a great option if you live by the beach and you want a beach cruiser. This can handle that. You don't want it for any like true more aggressive off-road riding. There is some movement in the front end I noticed when I was riding it off-road, some clanking. So it's not the kind of durability that you want for more sustained off-road riding, but for riding around the campground, it's gonna work well. At $1,200, this is one of the more affordable e-bikes around, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about how that really shows up in the quality of the components. So it's not a higher end e-bike, but if you were just looking to get into trying out an e-bike, this is a good option that's gonna give you the ability to get started. You'll notice that the bike has both front and rear racks. They both only hold 10 pounds, so only rated to 10 pounds each. So it's not gonna hold a lot of gear. Once you actually mount a basket on here, you're not gonna be able to put much in, but you can probably take a picnic lunch, which would be really nice. This bike has a very comfortable riding position. So you've got an extremely low step over, so it's easy to get on and off the bike. You don't have to lift your leg up high. It makes it great for people who might have some limited mobility. It also has a very high handlebar and a very upright riding position. So this is gonna be confidence instilling again for people who don't want to be more leaned over on a traditional style bike. That said, if you are used to riding a more leaned over bike, this extremely upright position could be a little bit off-putting. It has a throttle, and a throttle can really help get started. You get started on the e-bike. The one issue I had with this e-bike is that the throttle doesn't work when you're at a complete stop. You actually have to start pedaling for the throttle to work and kick in. And in my opinion, that gets rid of some of the value of a throttle because the throttle is really nice for like getting started from a complete stop. This bike is pretty heavy, which is why it's hard to get it going from a complete stop. It's over 60 pounds. So you really need that e-assist. If the e-assist battery dies, you're gonna have trouble pushing this along. That said, when you have you're pedaling, the e-assist is going, it's not gonna feel heavy. It's gonna feel nice and zippy. It's a 500-watt motor. It feels like it's got plenty of power. Making it up hills, I had no problem. The motor is in the rear hub. That's called the hub drive motor. And it's not quite as smooth as more expensive mid-drive motors. So you do feel a little bit of like jerky on-off as the motor engages and disengages. That said, it won't bother you. It's still a really fun bike. Like I mentioned before, this is an entry-level, more budget bike, and some of the components show that. It's got off-brand parts for the most part. It does have a Shimano drivetrain, so it's got a grip shifter up front and a derailleur in the back, and the Shimano Tourney is the entry-level Shimano group set, but it is a good durable one. So you know that the drivetrain on this bike is pretty good. Other components though, like the brake levers, these are Wuxling, that's an off-brand. The tires are an off-brand. Another thing that's pretty nice about this bike is that the battery is integrated here into the frame rather than being outside of the frame. This adds extra protection for the battery, and it also makes it just less obvious that it's an e-bike when you're riding around. It looks a little bit sleeker. The bike does have integrated front and rear light. You can turn it on with the LCD display up front. The LCD display is also where you adjust your power levels. There are 5 levels of the e-assist, 1 being the least amount of power and the 5 being the most amount of power. Another close competitor would be the Rad Power Rad Expand. And it's about $100 more than this bike, but it gives you higher weight capacity on the racks, a 750 watt motor opposed to the 500 watt motor on this. It also folds and has the fat tires, very similar bike to this. Overall, I think this is a good bike for a specific kind of person, like I already talked about, maybe a retiree living in an RV, or somebody who lives by the beach and just wants the occasional beach cruise thanks to those fat tires. It's not the bike I would recommend if you're going to be doing a lot of commuting around town. Just the durability of the components, they're all a little lower end, but again, that helps keep the price down. If you're looking for an entry-level bike, this is a good option.